Hello, we're coming to you from the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference in Atlanta. I'm Trevor Simpson, staff writer, staff editor at CoStar News Hotels, and I'm here with Mitch Patel, CEO and founder of Vision Hospitality Group. Mitch, how you doing?
Doing great, Trevor.
Good to see you.
Great seeing you as well.
So, we're a couple days into the conference. Usually, it's my job to take the tone of how things are going, but I wanted to ask you, from the sessions you've sat in on, conversations you've had with people, what's the overall mood, and do you agree with the consensus?
Sure. So, Trevor, I think the overall mood hasn't really changed a lot in the last, I would say, 3 or 6 months.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
This is uncertainty, by the way, is not good for a consumer-driven economy.
Right.
And so that is the big headwind. And so where is that going to go? Are we going to see more clarity going forward? And so that's the big debate. What is it going to look like the rest of the year and then onward to 27? Here's what I can say. I don't know, and I said this on the panel earlier,
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone could design a set of policies that could be worse for our industry.
Yeah.
And even though all of that took place, right, with inbound international, DOGE, with the tariff policies, and of course now with oil prices and gasoline prices going up, we are still doing, the key word is okay. Okay, meaning, either we're flat or growing. And our portfolio this year is actually up a little bit. And it's just really remarkable in how resilient that we are. And so I think, with an election year coming up, with the mid-year elections, as I said even earlier, that hopefully there's going to be some senses with these policymakers that, that the economy is important to the average American, right? And so hopefully that there'll be a little bit more clarity out there and let people do what they do best, and that is spend money.
Yeah, I like how you said that things are going okay, but that's actually pretty good given all the dynamics in the backdrop.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned the big word, uncertainty.
Yeah.
How do you deal with uncertainty when it comes to a cost perspective and development?
Sure. So development, now look, every company creates value differently, right? So I'll speak more, your question is on development.
Yeah.
So development is interesting because, we're not looking at exactly what's happening today.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to factor in what's happening in the marketplace today to justify opening a hotel a couple of years from now.
Right.
But we're not going to be open today, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to look into the future, and we have to look and say, okay, it could take sometimes a year plus in design and entitlement, and then another year and a half to 2 years to build a hotel.
Right.
So it could take as much as 3 years to open a hotel. So what is it going to look like 3 years from now? And so I'm more concerned about, okay, what is it going to look like in 29 and beyond, right? And so I think that 29 and beyond, we're going to be in a much better place than today. Even with all of these headwinds, we're okay, right? And so I think I'm confident with demand picking back up and supply curbed, as like we mentioned. The historical average of supply has been about 1.7, 1.8 in the last, 30 years, and it's going to be well under 1% in my opinion, for all the reasons that we know. And so I think it's going to bode really, really well for our industry and give us pricing power with rate. So that's my belief. And in terms of the development cost, we're definitely, yes, there's the tariff policy headwinds with some materials in FF&E and now oil that could impact some material costs with asphalt and sheetrock and those kind of things. But what's really helping us is there's just so much less demand to build in the commercial space. If it's office, if it's retail, if it's multifamily, and even hospitality, that we feel like numbers have now started tapering and there's a little bit more clarity in our underwriting.
Yeah.
And uncertainty, like I said, is not good for a consumer-driven economy, Trevor, but uncertainty is also very difficult to underwrite.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And model. So I think that the theme is we need more clarity.
Yeah.
And when we add more clarity, then I think it helps us underwrite.
Yeah.
And it helps us be confidence in what this investment's going to look like going forward.
Yeah, it would be nice to have that clarity, like you mentioned.
That's right.
Hopefully soon, but
hopefully soon, yes.
I'm uncertain about it.
Yeah.
So you said earlier during the Main Street panel this morning that this is the toughest time to develop. How do you push through that and still develop? Is it just having the right mindset that you're going to get it done, or how do you push through?
Yeah. So, Trevor, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. It's not like we started doing this for a few years ago. We've been doing it for nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
And we've developed, in 2001 and through 2001, through the great financial crisis and even through the pandemic. And so we've done this through the cycles. And so, like I said in the panel, you've got to have patient capital and more of a long-term viewpoint.
Yeah.
This is, I don't think you go out and develop and to time things perfectly, what is going to look like right when you open and what is that NOI going to generate and an exit cap and sell.
Yeah.
And so we know that good quality real estate appreciates over time. Mm-hmm. And what is that? Okay, I'm going to dissect it real quick.
Go for it.
It's not all brands are equal. The average Chick-fil-A does 9.3 or something million in revenues. The average Bojangles, sorry for those biscuit-loving Bojangle fans out there, but that's still a lot of biscuits at $2 million. But that's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
The construction cost, the kitchen equipment, the land is the same.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't take a genius to figure out which model is going to be a better investment for you. So which brand you partner with is very important. And we're only going to partner with the premium of the premium brands, which are the Chick-fil-A's of hospitality.
Yes.
And then the markets, right? We want to go into markets where there's great job growth, great population growth, where quality of life is already there and improving, right? And typically a lot of these markets that we're in is in the Sun Belt, right? Mm-hmm. And really growing communities in the South. And then basis is important. You could really take 20 developers trying to build the same project, and they could probably do it 20 different ways.
Yeah.
And so our philosophy is pretty simple, and we like to place money where guests notice and save money where guests don't care.
Yeah.
I've never seen on TripAdvisor, have you seen on TripAdvisor anyone comment about steel, rebar, concrete, and retaining walls?
I certainly have not, no.
So our approach is let's place money where guests would appreciate and really, really work on that basis. But it's really hard to develop at a good basis. That's what I was saying today, because even though it's softer in terms of demand for construction, inflation has really driven material pricing, and of course the labor piece is still there.
Yeah.
So it's still, relatively speaking, pretty high, even though it's stable construction numbers. But what you have to believe in, it's only going to cost more.
Yeah.
In 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't think it's going to go down.
No.
And so if we could develop today, then I think in 5 or 10 years from now, we will see significant appreciation on our real estate. And like I said, newer is typically better.
Yeah.
And if you have a great location, newer product, in the marketplace, and you're operating, and I didn't even mention how you operate your hotel has become more important than ever in this transparent world that we live in, where everybody knows about everything, right? There was a time, Trevor, there was a time for hard brands with a Holiday Inn and a Days Inn, and then even a Marriott Courtyard, which are really important, and a McDonald's, right? And fast food, because it was consistent. You knew what you were getting, right? But today, brands are still important, but people are gonna find that best burger place in the town because the technology is gonna allow you to do that. And you could have a great burger. You know you'll have a great burger just based on Reddit and
TikTok.
Yelp,
I'm sure you're on
TikTok,
TikTok,
and TripAdvisor and those kind of reviews. So people, how you run your business, how well you run your business has become more important than ever.
Gotcha. So we talked about the industry at large. What about Vision Hospitality Group are you excited about in 2026?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of noise out there, right?
Absolutely.
And I could talk to my team all day long about what my thoughts are. I don't think anybody has all the answers. They wouldn't call it uncertainty if everybody knew what was going on. So I don't think anyone really knows what's going to go on, including our president and the administration.
Right.
And so I think that we could talk about all those things all day long, but we have a portfolio of 44 hotels that we own, that we operate, of 1,700 people. And so I tell my team, let's focus on what we can control, right? Let's focus. Any given night, there's X amount of people coming into our hotels, right? So let's not get distracted by all the macro noise, and let's focus on the things that we can control. Because if you focus on things that you can control, like associate engagement and happiness and guest satisfaction, right? And work on growing market share, right? Just because you did 120 RevPAR index last year doesn't mean you can't do 125 this year, right? So let's focus on growing market share through our sales and, like I said, taking care of our people and our guests. And then in terms of profitability, there's so much out there that we could work on in terms of improving our business model. And let's get better and better and better every single day on our existing portfolio. So that gives us confidence that we could go out and grow the company.
Very well said. Mitch, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm Terence Baker, News Editor, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and I'm the host of The Upgrade, a CoStar News Hotels podcast for the EMEA region. In it, I discuss with special guests the pressures, challenges, joys and exhilaration that comes with managing, owning and developing hotels in our glorious multifaceted industry. Discovering the EMEA region from the scenic northern shores of Norway to heights of Table Mountain in South Africa, and most likely some chat about birdwatching, distance running and the English Premiership. Join us wherever you find your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify and on other platforms.
This episode of the CoStar News Hotels podcast was recorded on March 17th, 2026 by Meredith Sheridan at the 2026 Hunter Conference. It was edited for the podcast by me, Trevor Simpson. Find all hotel industry news at costar.com/hotelnews. Thanks for listening.